Long exposure photography is a great tool when you're trying to imply motion in your image. Now, things like cars, rushing water are great elements when you're trying to capture, long exposure photos. So if you are new to this form of photography, it involves using a longer shutter speed to sharply capture the stationary elements in your image while blurring out the elements that are in motion. And to do that on a bright sunny day, you're going to need ND filters. So this is where these come in handy. Now, FREEWELL sent these out to me. They sent out the long exposure 4-pack for the DJI Mini 3 Pro. And inside this pack, you have the ND 128, an ND 256, ND 512, and a ND 2000. So in today's video, I'm going to show you the settings that I use to capture these long exposure photos. We're going to photograph this dam over here with the water, running through it. And I'm going to show you how to get this silky smooth look in your photos. Now, just use this as a guide. Your settings may not, be the same as mine, depending on your environment, your lighting situation. So I'm just going to show you the principles on how to capture these photos so you can make adjustments depending on your situation. So if you like this type of content and enjoy drone reviews, tutorials, and cinematic videos, please hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future content. So with that, let's get started. Okay, so before you get started, you want to choose the correct ND filter. So you want to put it in photo mode. And you want to choose Pro mode. We're going to use Pro mode because we're going to try to get a slow shutter speed. In order to set your own shutter speed, you need to be in Pro mode. Now, I try to aim for a 1 to 2 second shutter speed, somewhere in between there. So we're going to try to go for a 1.3 second shutter speed. And you want to start out with your ISO low as possible. And it is daytime, so having a ISO of 100 is definitely good enough. And as you see, I am overexposed. Everything is all blown out. That's because we need an ND filter. So I'm going to start with an ND 512, and I'm just going to slip it over the camera and point it in a direction where I want to film or take a photo. And I'm still overexposed, as you can see. So since that's not strong enough, we're going to up it to an ND 2000. That might be good enough. We may have to make some adjustments once we get over there. I'm going to leave it as this because it looks like that area is in a shadow, so the area is going to be a little bit darker. So I'm just going to leave it as that. And we're just going to go over there and make sure everything is all right, and then we're going to take our photos. So let's take off. All right, so let's put it in cine mode and take it over here. All right, so I'm set up where I want to be. So I'm going to take it out of auto, put it in Pro mode, and I have my shutter set to 1.3 seconds. Now, it says that it's overexposed, but I believe that's the sky that's overexposing it, and my image looks a little bit dark. So what I'm going to do is bump up the shutter speed, and as you see, as I increase the shutter speed, it opens up the shutter and lets in more light and brightens up your image. Now this dam is in a shadow, so this part of the image is going to be a little dark. So what I'm going to do is take a test photo and take a look. So that looks pretty good. Now my advice is to take plenty of photos because you never know which one will be the right one. You know, the fact is that this is a light 249 gram drone, and it does get pushed around a little bit in the wind. So you want to take as many photos as you can when you're taking long exposure photos until you get the right one. All right, so I just want to intervene here. This wasn't the perfect scenario. It was late in the day and the sun was low in the sky. So it was casting a shadow over the dam, and the area where I wanted to take my photos was a little bit dark. So I had the challenge of trying to expose for the dam and then, you know, the sky as well. So this wasn't the perfect scenario. So this is something that I should have planned for, but didn't. However, I had to work with what I had. Now, as far as my settings, I always start out with the lowest ISO. Now, during the daytime, since you have the shutter wide open at 1 to 2 seconds, it does let in a lot of light. So having your ISO as low as possible at 100 would be the best setting. Now, as far as my white balance, I usually keep it in manual. However, when you're taking still photos, you could put it in auto because you're not moving around like you're filming or filming video, and you're not at risk of the temperature or color shifting while you're taking your photo. And one trick that I use when I'm using manual white balance, I'll set it to auto and let the camera determine what the white balance is, and then set it to manual, and then it'll lock it in at the temperature the camera set. I always use JPEG plus RAW, which gives you more options when you're editing your photos. As far as the picture size, I just leave it in 4:3 ratio, which maximizes the megapixels in your image. This definitely helps out when you're trying to crop in on your photo. I always use my grid lines, and I also always use my histogram. Now, as far as the overexposure warning, that's more distracting than anything, so I tend to not use that as much. So I thought I'd just give you that rundown and real quickly. And also, if you do like this video, if you're enjoying it and finding it useful, please hit that like button. It does help YouTube push it out to more people who are searching for content such as this. All right, so we got enough photos of the dam. Let's go over here to the highway and see what we can get with the cars. Now you can make these cars disappear if you have a long enough shutter speed. So let's wait for a group of cars to pass by on the overpass here. All right, so we have a group of cars here now passing by. Let's wait for some more. And because the shutter speed was so long, it blurred out the cars completely. So let's bring this back. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that and found it useful. I will leave a link in the description below for these filters here, the 4-pack of long exposure, filters from FREEWELL. Now the link does help out the channel a little bit, and I would be grateful if you do use it. So thanks in advance. And just remember, this is a guide. Your settings may be different than mine. So play around with it a little bit, experiment to get the exposure that you feel satisfied with. But if you are interested in using long exposure photography with hyperlapses, check out this playlist right here. These are a bunch of hyperlapse videos at night where I show you my settings and also how to edit them. So go ahead and check that out. They'll pop up right here in a second, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.